It's really wonderful to be with you on this Sanctuary Sunday. My name's Tim Norwood. I'm the Area Dean of Milton Keynes and also the Chair of Refugees Welcome Milton Keynes, the charity that is working with refugees and asylum seekers across our area. It's wonderful to be with you at St Michael's because I know that you have given and worked for refugees and asylum seekers in this area. And so thank you, and thank you for giving me some time this morning. I first got involved in work with refugees and asylum seekers back in 2015 at the height of the then refugee crisis. And like many people, I was disturbed by the things I was seeing in the newspapers, both of refugees suffering, but also of the response that they were receiving from the British press. And I wanted to act, I wanted to get involved, I wanted to do something about that. So I worked with my friends and colleagues in Citizens MK, and we put together a campaign called Refugees Welcome. And that led to a number of things. Most importantly, a resettlement scheme here, working with the council, working with the British Red Cross to resettle people from the Syrian conflict. And since then, we have resettled, we've been part of resettling 90 people, more than 90 people, through the government scheme. And that's been a great joy. And I know that you at St Michael's have contributed to that and helped the families directly through the provision of goods and money and resources. So thank you so much for that. In more recent years, the situation is moving on, and the council, I know, is rethinking how they are going to resettle refugees in future. They are utterly committed to this and want to find ways of helping refugees, and that's great news. We have just unveiled a pillar in Campbell Park to celebrate World Refugee Day and embed the value of welcome at the heart of our community. And I think that's a hugely important step forward. Looking ahead, one of the things that we've always been conscious of is that asylum seekers are particularly vulnerable because they have a lack of resources, a lack of recourse to public funds, and so therefore are often left behind, even more so than the refugees that we have been working with in recent years. And so we've wanted to shift our attention to asylum seekers and to the more vulnerable refugees. In the COVID-19 crisis, we've been working to listen deeply to what asylum seekers have been saying to us. And we've come to the conclusion that there are two main areas that we could address in the next couple of years. The first is around access to services, because we found that there are all sorts of barriers that prevent asylum seekers from accessing the services that are available to them. And we need to find ways of making those processes much more smooth and much easier for refugees and asylum seekers to use. And we're working on some ideas to focus on that. But there are also issues around digital poverty, because asylum seekers and refugees are left behind in a society that depends so much on the internet and on digital communication. And they have language barriers and access to resources that make it even more difficult. And then because they can't access the websites and the phone lines that many of us take for granted, they're left behind even more. And that has an impact on health, well-being and education. And so we're looking for ways to help alleviate digital poverty and make it more possible for refugees and asylum seekers to access services. In the meantime, thank you for letting me speak to you this morning. Thank you for letting me spend time with you. I hope you with me will pray on this Sanctuary Sunday for refugees and asylum seekers, not just in our area, but across the whole world, because this is a global problem. We need to pray, we need to act, and we need to look for a better world where all are welcome